Welcome to the WIHS Journal. On the broadcast with us today, the ministry, Sweet Sanctuary, and the founder, Treda Collier Dickenman, will talk about the event taking place November 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you for being with us on the broadcast and the WIHS Journal. So before we begin and we talk all about this great women's event and this book signing, and, you know, I love that name, Sweet Sanctuary. How did you come up with that ministry?
Well, thank you so much, Anissa. I want to share that back in 2000, I had a really wonderful friend who's since passed on, who served as the medical director for DCF. And I've spent most of my career working with supporting and nurturing girls from all walks of life. And I was doing some work at an all-girls school, Miss Porter's School, along with some other schools previous to that. I was feeling strongly within my spirit that I wanted to formalize the work I'd done, housing girls who didn't have a place to call home, as well as some other work with families, especially moms and daughters. And so I had an opportunity to do some work at Long Lane, which was a facility for girls, which has since closed. It was in Middletown. And this idea of Sweet Sanctuary is just the notion of finding peace, solitude, and places where you can just evolve and become and grow.
Great. And I do remember that home here in Middletown. So
Yes,
yeah.
That's right. You all are in Middletown.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your passion for women and girls to change topics now. So now you have a new event coming up on November 14th. We come as girls, we leave as women. So tell us all about this event. Yes.
So I spoke earlier about Miss Porter's, where I spent my summers from 79 to 1980, and where Krishanda Lee Perez was a student, along with then attending Wesleyan, also in Middletown. And Krishanda wasn't there when I worked there from 1998 to 2004, but we were sort of reconnecting, and she was going to be in the area. And while she's going to be in the area, we sort of talked and brainstormed about her helping us with a conversation. And as Sweet Sanctuary had a conference last fall called When Women Take Risk, We All Rise. And so this year we had this opportunity, the blessing of Krishanda being in town. And so we switched gears and we said, what if we do 2 to 3 conversations, topics? And so this topic of survivorship, that we all go through something at some point, and then how do we go through that? And so Krishanda has this wonderful platform with her book, We Come as Girls, We Leave as Women, which is based on her experience at Miss Porter's School, which is an all-girls school. And so we are designing an opportunity for a conversation to talk about our journeys, our paths, how we get to where we're supposed to be, and the people we meet along the way.
So what does her book entail? I mean, can you give us a little bit of nuggets of what the book actually, what it's about?
Yes. So Krishanda writes with these characters or members of a school, and she names her school. Obviously, she went to Miss Porter's, but it's not obviously named Miss Porter's. It's I believe, Ellington School, and she has girls, I should say, from all walks of life who are attending the school, and she's telling stories about these individuals, where they come from, what their lives are like, and how they grow at this place, at this school. And so it talks a lot about sisterhood and the sense of becoming.
Ladies, obviously, if you're tuning in, how would this event, how would it encourage them in their walk with God, or just encourage them in their life?
Yes. Well, being a woman of faith and clergy, I know that we struggle as women in general, but just thinking about, there are those times where we're supposed to birth dreams, or we have desires and goals. And as women, sometimes we can get stuck. We can experience taking care of everybody else, but not ourselves. And also the idea of being vulnerable, this thing that oftentimes is a barrier or becomes difficult. And so thinking about authenticity, thinking about empathy and ways that we, find our footing and expand and grow into what God has destined us to be. And so this conversation around, how do we survive? Krishanda has her own story about losing her mom. Other people have losses, not necessarily loved ones or even people. Sometimes it's jobs or careers or marriages. And so we're crafting a moment, not just now, but future conversations, just to get together in an intimate setting and recognize who we are and how we navigate the world. How do we navigate the world as women that come from all walks of life, but also women who have this desire to be what God wants us to become?
So, walk the ladies through. I had the flyer in front of me, but maybe you can kind of paint a picture, what, where it's at, what it'll entail and all that stuff.
Absolutely. So we'll be gathering at 6 p.m. at the Wadsworth Athenaeum. And the Wadsworth Athenaeum is also an incredible museum, and they're doing a lot of programming around, African American culture and what have you. And so it's really wonderful to have this sort of diversity event. Women are going to come in. We're going to have this program. It's going to open up with a beautiful songstress and musician singing a song that the gentleman wrote, Michael Brown, who actually is the gospel choir director at schools like Miss Porter's and some other private schools. He goes around and he helps choirs get off the ground and also allows them to have programs throughout the year. And after that, we're going to then begin the conversation, just looking at Krishanda, our connections over the years, the idea about sisterhood, where we find ourselves, and how we grow into excellence. What are the stumbling blocks along the way? So we're going to talk about her book. We're going to talk about what she's doing now and also the platform she has. And then we'll talk a little about Sweet Sanctuary. We'll talk about how we hope to continue to inspire and grow young women and moms and mothers, et cetera, who are multitasking all the time. And then we'll open it up to Q&A. And then after that, we will have a book signing. And Krishanda will be available to take photos with folks as well. And so it is a wonderful book. She's a wonderful woman. It will be a wonderful moment for us to have that sort of deep, intimate opportunity to say, hey, where are we? What's going on in our lives, and how do we, navigate and center at the same time? And what are other people doing, and how are they doing it?
Absolutely. Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for your passion for this event. I loved hearing about this. Any details that I missed that you would like to convey to our listeners?
Really just want to make sure listeners know that there are so many things we are destined to do in the world, and the people we are around spark that, often spark something within us. And so we hope that this is the beginning of Sweet Sanctuary, offering these opportunities to get together at a beautiful museum on a beautiful evening, and then future conversations. Parking is free. The Wadsworth, if you have not been there, is a wonderful place. And they also have their snack bar open for people to have little refreshments as well.
Once again on the broadcast with me was Treda Collier Dickenman, talking about the book We Come as Girls and We Leave as Women. It's a book written by Krishanda Lee Perez. The event is November 14th at the Wadsworth Atheneum in Hartford, Connecticut, from 6 to 8 p.m. More details, call WIHS 860-346-1049 is the phone number. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of a staff and management of a station. I'm Anissa Porticelli. The WIHS Journal is public affairs from WIHS Middletown.